Yo guys, Bufkin over here, hope y'all are doing well. Today I bring you guys a brand new tier list video covering all 99 tier 4 characters in the game. We're gonna be discussing their overall value, their support value, and yeah, going over this tier list. As you can see, we have 6 tiers starting with PvP meta and PvE meta. I mean, those two tiers are pretty much self-explanatory. The absolute top meta characters are gonna end up here. And then we have the lower meta characters for PvP and PvE in the PvP off meta and PvE low meta. Followed by that, we have the support tier for all the support characters. Now, previously when I made a tier list like this, I did not include a support tier, and a lot of you guys were very disappointed in me adding a lot of the good support characters in the not worth it tier. And then finally we have the not worth it tier. Here, characters I think are not worth tier 4ing at this stage in the game. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Our first character is Agent Venom, by far one of the best supports in the game. The main reason being there's a lot of very good PvP meta characters that have the symbiote tag. So yeah, he ends up in the support tier. You can get away with not tier 4ing support characters, but yeah, tier 4ing them gives you that extra juice, and also you can use them in World Boss Legend Plus. Next up we have Adam Warlock, one of the best PvP characters in the game, even though he's been out for almost 2+ years. He is very good. He is definitely top 5 PvP characters in the game, so I have to put him in PvP meta. Next up we have Beast. You can argue that he's not worth tier 4ing, but I'm still gonna put him in the support tier because of his PvP value and also him being usable somewhat in PvE. The ignore dodge buff does help in World Boss Legends. Another character who would be in the similar category as Beast, I should put him in support, but I am gonna put him in not worth it because this uniform has been out for a while, and in my opinion it's washed. And on top of that, this is a seasonal uniform, so a lot of you guys might not have him, and yeah, I just wouldn't recommend buying this and tier 4ing Angel. Right after that, we have another support in Beta Ray Bill. He holds decent value on his own to be ranked in the PvE low meta. However, his value as a PvE support is much better in World Boss Legends Plus, so I am just gonna rank him in the support tier. Followed by that, we have Bishop. Even though his uniform recently got added to the game, I just don't think he's worth it. You can argue we can put him in PvE low meta, but I am gonna put him in not worth it because he doesn't stand out in any restrictions in Alliance Battle, and yeah, overall I just think he's not worth investing in. Next up we have Black Bolt with his seasonal uniform. With the recent changes to Alliance Battle, his value did go up. Previously I would have put him in the not worth it tier because he was absolutely washed, but for the Inhuman tag in Alliance Battle Legends, he is by far the best option you have in the game. Right after that we have Black Panther. I'd say he is not worth it to tier 4, the main reasons being he has better alternatives in the restrictions he qualifies for. Next we have Black Widow, who is often used in Otherworld Battle, putting her in the PvP off meta tier. I think she is decent. She needs her artifact because it has, I think, Giga Dodge. She might feel very weak, but she hits really hard. So yeah, she ends up in the PvP off meta tier. Right after that, we have Blue Dragon. Now, as a blast female human character, she is usable in Alliance Battle, but I think like Sharon Rogers is a better option. And yeah, she just isn't as relevant to the game as she should be. I still think she's a very good character, but I just don't think she's worth tier 4ing. Next, we have one of the PvE metas in my opinion, Bullseye. He is really good for Alliance Battle Extreme, but from my testing, he wasn't really that good in Alliance Battle Legends. As a speed villain, he is absolutely the best option you have for Alliance Battle. So yeah, that justifies him being in PvE meta. Followed by that, we have Cable, the best non-seasonal mutant male character in the game that you can get your hands on. Unless you want to build Wolverine for PvE, Cable is your go-to mutant male character. He is the best alternative to Gambit. Right after that, we have Captain America. While he heavily relies on Weapon Hex's paywall uniform for his PvP value, he is still a very strong PvP character. Often seen being used in Otherworld Battle and Team Battle Arena, I think he is a very good off-meta PvP character. Another zombie character right after that, we have Captain Marvel. Now you can debate she is PvP off meta and PvE low meta with the new uniform. The old uniform, I would say like she is PvE low meta, but with the new uniform, she has to end up near the end of the PvP off meta tier. The main reason being she doesn't have penetration in her kit natively, so she has to rely on a destruction. However, she hits very hard, so yeah, she can act like a glass cannon, and again, just like Captain America, you need Weapon Hex's support buff. Following that, we level up to PvP meta with Carnage, an absolute unit of a character with immortality on his artifact. I find myself using him on a daily basis in team battle arena and often in otherworld battle. That's why I am gonna rank him in the PvP meta tier. I wouldn't say he is top 5 PvP characters in the game, so he ends up behind Adam. Regardless, he is an insane character. Following that, we have Crescent, the best combat female character in the game. However, I have to put her in PvE low meta due to the fact that she is, first of all, a seasonal character, and on top of that, she is only meta for one restriction in Alliance Battle Extreme. That might not be a justifiable reason for a lot of you guys to tier 4 her, which makes a lot of sense. Next, we have probably the best PvE support character in the game, Cyclops. He got added to the game with the X-Men 97 update, and he is insane. While he has an insane leadership, he also has a very good support buff. He qualifies for several restrictions in Alliance Battle, and he is a very good support character for World Boss Legends. Following that, we have Daredevil. I just don't think his value is good enough for him to be ranked in either PvP off meta or PvE low meta, hence why I'm gonna put him in the not worth it tier. Even though he got added not so long ago, he does not have enough value for you to tier for him. Right after that, we have Deadpool. With his alternate PvE uniform, he would be not worth it, but with this uniform, I have to put him at PvP off meta because of his immortality. He performs decently, but you only rarely see him being used in otherworld battle. So yeah, he ranks towards the end of PvP off meta. Another addition to the same tier, we have Dr. Doom. He's actually much better than Deadpool, however not as good as everybody wanted him to be. I mean, it makes sense since God Emperor Doom is like the best version of Doom in the comic books. People expected him to compete with the likes of Null and Sentry, but here we are in the off-meta section. He definitely can't compete with the absolute top meta character, but still holds great value in PvP, often seen in Team Battle Arena and Otherworld Battle. The next addition to the tier list is Dr. Octopus. The main reason why I am gonna be ranking him towards the end of PvE low meta is because he has alternatives in the same restrictions he qualifies for, and they are both much easier to play and require a lower maintenance build to be performing as well as him. Next up, we have another Doctor. This time it's Doctor Strange. Without a doubt, he ends up in PvE meta section, holding insane value in every single PvE game mode in the game. I definitely suggest prioritizing his epic quest first, building him up as soon as you start playing the game. He will give you insane value in return. I recently started farming Dispatch again, and he reminded me why he is one of the best PvE characters in the game. Next up, we have Ant-Man in the not worth it tier. He held some value when he first came out. However, in the current state of the game, he just isn't good enough for you to tier for him. Following that, we have Apocalypse. In my opinion, he holds similar value as Doom. However, he does need his artifact, so he would rank slightly lower than Doom. He is a decent Otherworld Battle and Team Battle Arena toon, while also providing debuff to mutant characters on the team. Next, we have Dr. Voodoo, another addition to the support tier. He is very good for Alliance Battle as you can use him in 6 different restrictions. However, his primary buffs only apply to universal characters, so it does slightly impact his overall value. Subsequently, we have another support in Ebony Maw, an insane PvP support that is seen in almost every team in Challenger's timeline battle. His buffs apply to all characters and affects universal tunes on your enemy team. Being a PvP support, tier 4ing might be a viable option if you want him to survive longer. Next we have Echo. I recently checked in game to see who the least tier 4 character was, and it was none other than Echo. Pretty much useless, you should stay away from her, bottom of not worth it tier. Similarly, we have Electra. She got a rework not so long ago and you would expect her to be at least PvP or PvE low meta. But no, she holds barely any value in my opinion, and yeah, she just ends up being a bad value tier 4 character, holding a spot in the not worth it tier. Next we have the Ice Queen, Emma Frost. Even though her latest uniform is a seasonal paywall uniform, it's absolutely amazing. I often use her in Team Battle Arena and some seasons in Other World Battle, but maybe I am a bit biased, but I think she ends up at the top of PvP off meta for now, even without an Immortality or a Revive passive. Following that, we have Captain America Falcon. You can argue that he's not worth it, however, I am adding him towards the end of PvE low meta due to the fact that he is the second best option as the speed hero male for Alliance Battle. He can give you some decent scores and provide some value as a PvE toon. He sits in the same conversation as Cable and Dr. Octopus. Not the best, just a decent alternative. After that, we have our next addition to the PvE meta tier with Gambit. With the recent changes to Alliance Battle, Gambit has seen his stocks reach new heights. By far the best mutant male toon in the game right now, he is definitely worth tier 4ing. Next we have Gamora, one of the best characters to tier 4 as a free-to-play player. If you already have Luna, she's still the best for 1 or 2 days of Alliance Battle. But if you don't have Luna, Gamora is meta for 4 restrictions. You also have to take into consideration her insane value in World Boss Legends. So yeah, for now she holds the second spot in the PvE meta tier. Following that, we have the ultimate hybrid character in the game. He could easily be in PvE meta and also PvP meta. If he thought the seasonal uniform Ghost Rider couldn't get any better, his new uniform made him reach the ultimate form. While he did lose some value in PvE, he turned Super Saiyan in PvP. You do need his artifact for PvP, so keep that in mind. But yeah, he's just insane. I use him daily in Team Battle Arena and also in Alliance Battle as a striker and occasionally in Otherworld Battle, even though I have a PvE build on him. It just goes to show how good he is as an overall character. Definitely would recommend tier 4ing him first if you are just starting off. I'd go as far as saying he might be better than Adam in PvP if you have a PvP build on him, ranking him at the top for now. After that, we have Gladiator, the ultimate alien hero we had in the game for the longest time. I still think he's a very strong character, but new alternatives have shown up in the game. They have a much cheaper price tag on them and are much easier to play. So for now, I have to add him to the top half of the PvE low meta tier. But still, he's not washed at all, he's just too expensive and difficult to master. Another alien in the list, we have Groot with his seasonal uniform. With this uniform, he's actually a very good support character, but tier 4ing him is only worth it if you plan on pushing World Boss Legends. Even without tier 4ing him, his value as a support stays consistent in Alliance Battle. Next we have Gwenpool, a very good PvE character who is a must build for newbie players, especially due to her latest uniform having native Pierce in it. It's very helpful early on, but over time she does lose her value as a DPS, hence why she ends up in the PvE low meta tier as an alternative speed villain character for Alliance Battle. She does still have decent value in World Boss Legends, but yeah, Bullseye is just a better speed villain character in Alliance Battle. After that, we have Hawkeye. You can argue he's not worth it, but I've seen people utilize him in Alliance Conquest. He's missing Immortality and Revive in his kit, but he can be usable at times. Following that, we have Hela, a very versatile character who holds decent value in PvP, PvE, and as a support. You can use her as a standalone in certain PvP game modes and in World Boss Legends for PvE, but most people run her as a dedicated support for Otherworld Battle and Team Battle Arena, hence she ends up in the support tier. She's a very good counter to superhero teams with her buff. After her, we move on to Hellstorm. He got a new uniform not so long ago and it was very underwhelming. Only holding a little value in PvE, I don't think he is worth tier 4ing at all putting him in the not worth it tier. Next, we take a look at Hulk, one of my favorite characters in Marvel. However, he is a part of one of the most saturated typings in the game, combat villain. You have several options for this restriction, hence why you need characters who offer much better value, and Hulk unfortunately is not the man. He is a very good option for Alliance Battle Extreme compared to Alliance Battle Legends. However, having the whole HP gimmick makes him a bit of an annoying character to build. Still, his scores are very competitive, so I have to put him at near the top of the low meta tier. After Hulk, we have Hulkbuster. He falls in the Alliance Conquest only category, same as Hawkeye. So they sit at the bottom of the off meta PvP Toons tier. Next, I'd have to say, similar to the Alliance Conquest only category in PvE, we have World Boss Legends or GBR only category. Human Torch falls into that category. He's inversatile, so he ends up at the bottom of low meta PvE tier. Following that, we have another F4 character, Sue Storm, aka Invisible Woman. She has some value as a debuff support for Otherworld battle, but people mainly build her as a DPS as she holds decent standalone value, ranking in the middle part of the PvP off-meta section. Another blast female following Sue is Ironheart, a very good support for Alliance Battle and World Boss Legends. She ends up in the support tier. Next, we have one of those World Boss Legends and GBR only type characters in Iron Man. You can genuinely debate their overall value and say they aren't worth it, but still, since they hold some value, I'm just gonna rank them at the bottom of low meta PvE. Next, we have the Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey, one of the greatest PvE characters to be added to the game. When people thought she was finally slipping from the meta, the new changes to Alliance Battle made her regain her value in PvE as one of the top metas. While she only stands out in a couple restrictions in Alliance Battle after being royally replaced, her overall value in other PvE game modes, in my opinion, earns her a spot in the meta section for PvE. Following that, we have another mutant in Juggernaut. He got a tier 4 upgrade very recently with a new uniform, and he's actually decent, not game changing, but a decent upgrade so he can make a name for himself in Alliance Conquest. He can have fun with Hawkeye and Hulkbuster. Next, we have Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. I still think Black Bolt is the best option for Alliance Battle Legends in Humans restriction. So yeah, Kamala has to sit at the alternative table with Cable Falcon in them. Another addition to PvE low meta, we have Kingpin, similar to Hulk. He is also a combat villain who is a better option for Alliance Battle Legends than Alliance Battle Extreme, but he doesn't hold much value in PvE apart from that. So yeah, he sits right there with Hulk. And finally, we have the first native tier 3 addition to this tier list, Null, the Symbiote God. He is hands down one of the best PvP characters in the game, and if you do build him for PvE, he is also really good. I mean, there isn't much else to say here apart from the fact that he hits like a truck and he also has native immortality. He is just insane. Following that, we have an addition to the PvE meta tier with Luna Snow, the ultimate speed female character in the game who is at this point just irreplaceable. Meta for every restriction she qualifies for, and also an insane World Boss Legends character. A must tier 4 if you already have this uniform, but you have to keep in mind that it is a seasonal paywall uniform. Next, we have the Goblin Queen Madeline Pryor. With her artifact, she is a very good PvP character, often seen being used in Otherworld battle, hence why I put her in the off-meta tier for PvP. After that, another mutant character in that same tier is Magic. She has an immortality artifact and is actually a very strong Otherworld character, just like Madeline. Subsequently, we have another mutant. However, this one is going into the low meta PvE section. The man who got dethroned by Doctor Strange, Magneto. Still a very good PvE character. With the new changes to Alliance Battle, he does qualify for a few more restrictions. However, he is more of a second option for all the restrictions he qualifies for. Hence, he ranks in the top half of this tier. Finally, moving away from the mutants for now, we have Medusa with her new seasonal uniform. She's actually a very good support, but you don't necessarily need her at tier 4, so it's something that you have to justify for yourself depending on where you are at in the game. And now, the Lord of Evil himself, the ultimate PvE dealer in the game, Mephisto, the most recent native tier 3 to receive a uniform and the long-awaited tier 4 upgrade. The advancement did not disappoint. He is the king of Alliance Battle. Every single record I personally had has been annihilated by him. World Boss Legends, easy. GBR, easy. With him, you play the game on easy mode. So for me, he is the epitome of PvE meta. Not to mention, he also has Revive in his kit that gives him some PvP value as he also hits really hard. So you can find him in Otherworld Battle and Team Battle Arena occasionally in seasons where a lot of the characters are restricted. And now moving forward to another addition to PvE meta, we have Spider-Man Miles Morales with the Halloween uniform. He qualifies for several Alliance Battle restrictions, and even though he doesn't perform as well there, his value primarily stems from him being the absolute best tier 4 striker in the game. The difference you see in each run and your scores are very significant. Hence why he ends up at the top of PvE meta, right behind Mephisto without a doubt. Next, we have a PvP character in Mr. Fantastic. He is decent, but he isn't better than his wife in terms of overall value. Both of them need their son and his artifact to function well standalone, so yeah, Reed Richards ends up right behind Sue in PvP off meta. Now coming back to the not worth it tier, we have another addition in Moon Knight. It's been a while since he got this rework, and yeah, he is very washed at the moment, definitely not worth tier 4ing. Following that, we have a support who saw her value skyrocket with the new changes to Alliance Battle, Mystique. She qualifies for 6 restrictions now, and she is the standout free-to-play option for a lot of these restrictions that she qualifies for, making her a very enticing support, not only for Alliance Battle but for World Boss Legends as well. Next, we have Namor, who has very good typing as a combat villain while also being a mutant. However, I just don't think at this stage in the game he's worth upgrading to tier 4. His scores aren't competitive, so I would put him in the not worth it tier. Right after that, we have one of the best supports in the game in Nick Fury. The only downside is his buffs only apply to superhero characters, so he becomes a very good option for World Boss Legends, but he doesn't really need a tier 4 for Alliance Battle. Following that, we have Odin, a native tier 2 premium character. Being so expensive, he doesn't really bring you competitive numbers in Alliance Battle, and with the new additions to the alien hero tag coming in the game, he has lost a lot of his value. Some of you might argue that he is PvE low meta, however, I think he is not worth it to tier 4. Following that, we have an easy skip with Professor X. On paper, he should have very good value, Blast Male Mutant. It's a combination that has become much more relevant in Alliance Battle recently, but despite the typing boost, Professor X completely fails to deliver. With the new uniform, his performance is not up to standard, so yeah, I would definitely put him in the not worth it tier. Next up, we have Psylocke with her seasonal paywall uniform. On release, she was an absolute menace to the meta. However, that didn't last long as Storm quickly replaced her as the superior option. That said, Psylocke is still a very strong PvE character and a very strong alternative to Storm if you don't already have her built, earning her a spot in the lower tier PvE meta alongside other viable alternatives. Next up, we have Punisher, a PvP character lacking immortality or revive in his kit. The limitations make him usable almost exclusively in Alliance Conquest, where he still finds some value. As a result, he sits at the bottom of the PvP off-meta tier alongside other Alliance Conquest only characters. Another similar PvP character is Quicksilver, who also lacks immortality or revive. However, he holds slightly more value thanks to his Giga Dodge artifact. You occasionally see him being played in Otherworld Battle, but that's just about it. But it's still added utility, hence why he sits a few spots above Punisher himself in the PvP off-meta tier. Following that, we have Red Guardian. Even after his Thunderbolts rework, he has been underwhelming and offers no real value in the current meta. Overall, he is not worth investing in and is definitely a skip in my opinion. Right after that, I have a controversial pick in Rogue. In my opinion, her value comes almost entirely from being the best farming character in the game. she excels in story mode farming and dimension rift, which I consider a very crucial part of overall progression in the game. While some may disagree, the utility alone, in my opinion, earns her a spot at the bottom of the PvE meta section. Moving forward, we have Scarlet Witch. She is an insane alliance battle character, qualifying for a large number of restrictions, especially with this zombie uniform. And if you pair her up with her old hero uniform, she also qualifies for a few more restrictions with that. Without a doubt, she holds a spot near the top of the PvE meta, a very strong investment. Next up is the king of PvP, the final native tier 3 king himself, Sentry. At the very top level, you can argue he's on equal footing with Null. However, for free-to-play or newer players, Sentry is the better pick. He doesn't rely on a team-up collection or specialized supports like Agent Venom to compete in the absolute top meta in PvP. He does all that on his own without that extra buff. Because of that, Sentry sits at the absolute top of the PvP meta tier, and in my opinion, he is an absolute must build in this current meta. Next up, we have Shadow Shell. There's not much to say with her. She is washed and offers no real usability in the current meta. As it stands, she is a hard skip, and it's likely gonna stay like that for a long time. Now we move on to Silver Surfer Shalabal, the most recent addition to the Crystal Coast characters. She came out with a tier 4 upgrade on release, which was pretty cool. She has a revive artifact and gives your team debuff. That said, her damage didn't quite live up to her expectations, leaving her feeling a bit underwhelming overall. With a future uniform, she could easily climb up a few spots, but for now, she sits in the dab middle of the PvP off-meta tier. Next up is Shang-Chi. He recently got a new uniform. He is a decent PvP character, but without immortality or revive in his kit, and lacking the raw power to stand on his own. His value is very limited. As a result, he is mainly usable in Alliance Conquest, ranking at the bottom of the PvP off-meta tier alongside other Alliance Conquest only characters. Right after that, it's Sharon Rogers with her seasonal paywall uniform. With the addition of the Blast female restriction, her value has gone up. But since it's only one restriction, she ends up in a similar spot to Crescent. You could argue Sharon is more worth taking to tier 4s since she can still perform well with her Poseidon armor uniform and isn't fully locked behind her paywall. Because of that flexibility, I rank her slightly above Crescent, but she still remains in the low PvE meta category. Next up, we have Silver Surfer, the best reflect character in the game without a doubt. With the help of the symbiote team-up collection and supports like Agent Venom, he is still seen being used in timeline battle, which is honestly insane. On top of that, he is a consistent performer in Team Battle Arena and in certain seasons in Otherworld Battle. Without a doubt, a PvP meta character in my opinion. After that, we have Spider-Gwen. She is a decent PvE character, but her value has dropped significantly over time. At this point, she is not worth investing in, making her the new addition to the not worth it tier. Up next, we have Spider-Man. He is a PvP glass cannon that heavily relies on his Giga Dodge artifact. While he can occasionally take out specific characters, his value mostly limits to Otherworld Battle, which places him in the middle of the PvP off-meta tier. Next up, it's Star-Lord. Over time, his value has steadily declined. He was never the top pick to begin with for the alien hero restrictions, and with newer, stronger alien characters being released, his relevance continues to drop. That said, being the cheapest option that still performs decently, I am still placing him in the bottom half of the PvE low meta tier. After that, we have one of the best PvE characters in the game, Storm. With the recent addition of no restriction Alliance Battle Extreme Days, she is arguably the best option for those restrictions, which makes her the second best Alliance Battle character overall. On top of that, she is insane in World Boss Legends and performs extremely well across all PvE game modes, ranking her just behind Mephisto in the PvE meta section. Next, we have Taskmaster. While you can use her as a DPS for the combat female restriction, her performance isn't that great there. To be fair, apart from Crescent, she was the only other combat female tier 4 option for a very long time until very recently. That said, her real value clearly shines as a support. On top of that, her older uniform lets you swap her typing to a male, giving her even more utility across restrictions and World Boss Legends. First up, we have Farmer Thanos with the Seasonal Crystal Cost uniform. This uniform is catered more towards PvE, so if you are looking for an alien villain, he can work very well at tier 4. But keep in mind, there are cheaper and stronger alternatives available, so this might not be a good investment for you. But since he is an alternative, I am still gonna rank him at PvE low meta. Then we have the Thanos Wins uniform that shifts him more towards PvP. While his overall value has been declining as the PvP meta continues to change, you still see him in Team Battle Arena and certain seasons in Otherworld Battle. Both uniforms are very serviceable, but neither truly excel in their roles anymore, especially with better options now available. Next, we have the Thing. While he has a very good PvE support ability, it only caters towards Fantastic Four characters. However, the best Fantastic Four characters are PvP oriented, so this makes the Thing a bit of a joke. He is absolutely not worth tier 4ing. Following that, we have Thor. Similar to Rogue, his value has shrunk almost entirely to story mode and dimension rift farming. While he isn't the absolute best farmer overall, he still remains the best free-to-play farming option. Hence why I am ranking him at the top of the PvE low meta tier. You can also use him for World Boss Legends at times, but yeah. Right after that, we have Venom, the next addition to the PvE meta tier. He is an insane World Boss Legend character who has also seen his value rise in Alliance Battle with the new changes. On top of that, he is extremely easy to play, and his Team Up collection bonuses allow him to scale his value over time, making him a very good investment in my opinion, whether you are a free-to-play player or a pay-to-win player. Next up, we have Ancient One. With both his non-seasonal and seasonal uniform, you can swap his typing from a female to male or male to female, giving him added versatility. His value as a tier 4 mainly lies in World Boss Legend as a support character, but he doesn't offer much impact in Alliance Battle. Right after that, it's War Machine. He provides a decent buff for machine type characters, but it's extremely niche. Because of that limitation, I am ranking him all the way at the bottom of the support tier. You could argue that he is not worth it. But moving on to a more impactful support, we have Weapon Hex. All zombie PvP characters essentially rely on her to be viable thanks to her immortality buff that she provides with her paywall seasonal uniform. However, primarily because she is limited to a very specific group of characters, I am gonna be placing her in the middle of the support tier. Very important but not universally valuable. Now we take a look at Winter Soldier. First up is his Combat Villain uniform, which is very competitive and performs well in Alliance Battle, earning a spot in the PvE low meta tier. Next up, we have the Speed Hero uniform for Winter Soldier, which has also seen its value rise in Alliance Battle with the new changes, ranking similar to the Combat Villain uniform. However, when you combine both the uniforms, Winter Soldier gains insane versatility across multiple restrictions. Taking that into account, he moves up into the PvE meta tier overall, since you're effectively building one character that covers multiple characters' roles, saving resources compared to building multiple characters. Bringing us to the final addition to the PvP meta tier, we have Wolverine. He is an insane PvP character who heavily relies on his immortality artifact. Wolverine is a consistent pick in Team Battle Arena and Otherworld Battle whenever he is available, and he is seen occasionally in Timeline Battle. On top of that, he offers strong PvE value as a tier 4 striker, making him a very solid overall investment. Next up, we have Wong. While he has some standalone PvP value, it's not significant enough to matter. His support effects are limited to magic tag characters, which makes him a very niche option overall. Because of that, he ranks low in the support tier. Up next is X23. She is technically a PvP character, her performance is underwhelming, her overall value is very limited. You could argue she is usable in Alliance Conquest, but even then, it's not enough to justify investing in her. Because of that, I am placing her in the not worth it tier. So yeah, let's just move on to the next character. We have Yelena. Again, in my opinion, she doesn't offer any significant value in the current meta, which places her firmly in the not worth it tier. And speaking of characters that aren't worth it, this one should be unanimous: Hercules. For a character that's literally supposed to be immortal, the fact that he has no immortality or revive is wild. And to make things worse, his damage is atrocious. Overall, this is an absolute joke of a kit and a hard skip. Do not tier 4 Hercules. Next up are the two final Epic Quest characters, starting off with Hades. He is a very strong PvE character and arguably the best alien villain in the game with a moderate build. While Loki with his villain uniform still takes the top spot with a god build, Hades remains very competitive. However, since he's only relevant to one restriction, he lands in the top half of the PvE low meta tier. Following that, we have Zeus. For the first couple of weeks after his tier 4 release, he would have easily ranked in the PvE meta tier. But with Loki's new uniform outperforming him in overall value, Zeus unfortunately drops below Hades in the rankings. You could argue Zeus is better in Alliance Battle Legends, but building two separate characters just to split ABX and ABL usage doesn't make much sense. Don't get me wrong, Zeus is still insane, but when a cheaper and more efficient alternative exists, upgrading him becomes hard to justify. Following that, we have Ares, who recently received a tier 4 upgrade. It holds insane value. While he may not be the absolute best option for any single restriction, he delivers very competitive numbers across multiple restrictions that would usually require 2 or 3 separate characters. Because of that versatility alone, Ares firmly earns a spot in the PvE meta tier. That brings us to the most recently reworked characters, Kate Bishop, Loki, and America Chavez. Starting off with Kate Bishop, she just received a tier 4 and based on her kit, she is clearly PvP oriented. However, without immortality or revive, her impact is limited. Initial impressions suggest she is most likely an Alliance Conquest only character with potential niche use as a counter in other PvP game modes. Following that, the biggest winner from the last update, we have Loki. He walked in and effectively took Zeus's job. While he is slightly weaker in Alliance Battle Legends, the difference isn't significant enough to matter. His overall value and performance firmly places him in the PvE meta tier. And finally, we have America Chavez. While she also has a PvP focused kit and some Alliance Conquest value, most characters will get far more out of her as a PvP support. Her uniform buff is extremely strong and easily outweighs her limited standalone usability, placing her just behind Hela in the standings for now. But yeah, that pretty much sums up this tier list. If I were to make a few adjustments, I'd probably move like Electra up with the Alliance Conquest only characters. So yeah, I'm gonna move her up and then also make some changes to the PvE low meta. I think it's a bit more optimized if I rank the characters who are meta for certain restrictions higher. For example, Hades, Sharon Rogers, Crescent, and then Black Bolt are like standout options for their own restrictions. And yeah, maybe like improve Gwenpool's position because she is a very good free-to-play option for tier 4. That would be a very ideal pick if you are starting off the game. But yeah, now you can tell after Thor, all the characters in this tier are alternatives or second picks, which pretty much sums it up. Now let's make some changes to the support tier as well. The value of course is relative to your goals, but I would honestly prioritize a couple absolute best PvE supports and then move on to the PvP supports. It gets a bit random towards the end, so yeah, you have to decide on your own which characters you think will provide you with the best value. Now, taking a look at the overall list, I'd say I am pretty satisfied with how it looks. If I were to change some things, I would probably like demote Carnage to like the top of PvP off meta and move up like X23 so she is with the Alliance Conquest only type characters at the bottom of the off meta tier. But for now, I think I am happy with this. Before we fully wrap up this video, I also want to quickly touch on the upcoming update and a recent data mine that suggested that Kang, Madeline Pryor, and Scarlet Spider are getting reworks. So they are definitely characters you should keep your eyes on. Starting with Madeline Pryor, she already has a tier 4 upgrade, but without a uniform, she is currently sitting in the mid-tier PvP range. Based on the rework, it's very likely she's getting a seasonal paywall uniform. Purely speculation though, but if that happens, I fully expect her to jump straight into the PvP meta. For now, she stays in the future value tier until we actually see the uniform for ourselves. Following that, we have Kang. I'm expecting him to fully receive his long-awaited tier 4 along with the new uniform. If that happens, things are gonna get crazy. There's a real chance he ends up on the same level as Sentry and Null for PvP, or if they end up pushing him for PvE, he could become serious competition for Mephisto. Either way, the potential is massive. As for Scarlet Spider, I personally think he'll end up with a crystal cost uniform that makes him an even better support rather than receiving a tier 4 upgrade. Because of that uncertainty, both Madeline Pryor and Kang remain firmly in the future value tier for now, but that could change quickly depending on how this update lands. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this video. With Black Friday wrapping up and the year coming to a close, I think this was the perfect time to put out this tier list. What do you guys think? What would you change? Drop your thoughts in the comments, leave a like if this video helped you guys, and of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I've also covered a lot of these characters we talked about today in more in-depth review videos, so be sure to check out the channel for those. But yeah, that's it from me guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, be safe and peace.